Hello, I'm Mary Ellen Vanderventer, your Lake County Recorder of Deeds. For over 17 years now, it has been my pleasure to present our cable TV show called Doing Good Deeds for You. The response from these informative shows has been wonderful, and we are delighted to have answered so many of your questions and featured great informative guests over the years. I've often said that the Recorder's Office is the best kept secret around. And the goal of our television program is to make you aware of just what we do in our office and how we're always available to help you. Another goal is to continue to bring you important information that you or someone in your family or your neighborhood can use every day. So in today's show, I would like to highlight an important new program in Lake County. Our show today is dedicated to the launch of the 19th Judicial Circuit's new Mortgage Foreclosure Mediation program. Several partners have made this Mortgage Foreclosure Mediation program possible, including the Illinois Attorney General's Office, the Affordable Housing Corporation of Lake County, Resolution Systems Incorporated, and of course the dedicated judges in Lake County, Illinois. My guests today are the Honorable Circuit Court Judge Mitchell Hoffman and Lisa Pugliese, Executive Director of the Affordable Housing Corporation. This is really an important show, and this new foreclosure mediation program is entirely free. So grab a pencil, because you'll be amazed at all of the information that is easily at your fingertips. Please stay tuned as we begin our show, Doing Good Deeds for You. Here we are with Judge Hoffman and Lisa from the Affordable Housing Corporation, and we're going to get right into this today and answer all of your questions on this great new program that Lake County has. But I think to begin with, Judge, if you could just speak a little bit to the foreclosure climate in Lake County. I'm guessing that it's in every township, probably in every walk of life, unfortunately, and I'm wondering if it's hundreds a month, or do you know the numbers? It's pretty big, I would imagine, sadly.
Well, right now we anticipate a rate of about 6,000 new mortgage foreclosure filings a year, although that's subject to change. What we think of as the mortgage foreclosure crisis really began in late 2007, 2008, and at that time our court calls that were devoted to mortgage foreclosures were tiny. We had one morning a week, and it usually lasted for an hour to an hour and a half. Within a few years, we were up to nearly 10,000 mortgage foreclosure cases. We had to find additional courtrooms, additional judges, and it became very difficult to manage. We were able to take some interim steps to help people. I should say that a lot of the people, homeowners who are in foreclosure, are not able to afford an attorney. So they are what we call pro se. They represent themselves when they come to court. So we started a help desk for people to at least get information from attorneys about how the foreclosure process worked and what their options were. One of the important options we always inform people of was to go to Affordable Housing Corporation to get housing counseling to see if they could work on a loan modification. But more specifically, in answer to your question, yes, the mortgage foreclosure crisis cuts across the county, cuts across economic lines.
I mean, it's a little bit of everything, isn't it? People have lost their jobs or just really horrible, unforeseen circumstances. You must see everything.
I think we see a lot of families that had two incomes at one time and were easily making their mortgage payments, and then one or both lost a job. There are families where there was an illness, obviously. There were some in the early days that were subject to these adjustable rates, and the mortgage payments went up dramatically and people didn't understand why. So there's lots of different reasons, but it's certainly tied to the economic situation. But the bottom line is we see foreclosures in every community in the county, and it's something that affects people very profoundly in their personal lives.
Absolutely. Sure, for quite a long time, I'm sure. Lisa, speak to the Affordable Housing Corporation in Lake County. Tell us exactly what you do and how you are intertwined with all of this.
Well, we've been around since 1995, and before I address foreclosures, I'll also mention that we are a resource for the county for a number of things. We help first-time buyers purchase their first home with financing assistance, home buyer education and counseling. We help improve distressed properties, whether you're an owner-occupied person who owns their home, or we buy foreclosed properties, rehab them, and resell them. So we do a number of different things.
Okay, that's great.
But
how big is your staff?
We've got a staff of 9, and we are expanding. We actually opened up another office just for our foreclosure services, and in part to work with the courts. We've been providing foreclosure counseling since 2000. We used to see about 30 households a year, give or take, and then, as you can imagine, it just exploded. And we have helped hundreds of households over the years obtain loan modifications, go through the steps to gain a short sale, or if keeping their home truly wasn't viable, just helping them with crisis budgeting, identifying next steps, and preparing to rebuild for the future.
That's great. That's great. And we're going to show the website and the phone number continually through the show. So
Wonderful.
People will be able to contact you. The moment you stop watching, you'll be able to get help right away. Well, let's get into the program. I have so many questions for you. Tell me, what is mediation? And how can that help, Judge? What is mediation?
Well, mediation is a chance for the homeowner to meet directly with the bank, face-to-face, and to have a neutral party mediate the conversation between them about what possibilities there are to resolve the case short of foreclosure. And there are a number of different options. We can talk about those. But maybe the best way to explain why we need mediation is to describe what typically happens in court. We have, as I said before, a large number of pro se homeowners who are representing themselves. It's difficult in most cases for them to navigate the court system because they have to do their own legal research, they have to go to the law library. It's not an easy thing to do. Some people do it very well, but it's not easy. What happens a lot of times is pro se homeowners are coming to court and really just asking the court for more time because they're working on loan modifications. And one thing the court cannot do is require the bank to modify a loan. So we try, obviously, to accommodate that process as much as we can, but it's not formally part of the court process. And typically what happens is even the bank's attorneys in court will not have information on the status of loan modification negotiations. They don't always get that information from the bank themselves. So we're kind of in a situation where we're all in court, but nobody really has the critical information about when this loan modification may happen and if it's going to happen at all. So the idea behind mediation is that the court process would stop for a defined period of time, and during that time, the homeowner, if they want to participate in mediation, would be required, first of all, to attend an informational session at Affordable Housing Corporation to learn about what their options are, to learn about the concept of loan modification, and to start understanding some of the terminology, like deed in lieu of foreclosure.
Yeah, it's all the
HAMP.
jargon.
There's quite a bit,
yeah,
and it's hard for them to wrap their arms around. So they have to start with this informational session. Once they've completed that, they have a certain period of time during which they have to set up a one-on-one housing counseling session with affordable housing. And then the counselor will meet with them, and Lisa can talk about this in more detail, and really get them ready for the mediation session. They'll make sure that all the documents that the bank is going to need to review have been compiled and that they're current and that the packet is complete. And a lot of people need help doing that.
You know, I'm just thinking, as a homeowner, when do you know you're in trouble? Like, does this begin when you've missed 3 mortgage payments or 6 months or 1 year? Who's eligible for this? And how do you know that you're really, really in trouble?
Well, I think most people know they're in trouble. They see it coming. And, you know, in an ideal world, people would start taking steps to adjust their finances as soon as they can. From a lending perspective and a legal perspective, a bank will file for foreclosure at 90 days, meaning you've already missed 3 payments by that point. And, you know, for the average household, 3 mortgage payments behind is already a significant amount of funds to make up.
So how do they legally know they're in trouble? Do they get a summons or some kind of paperwork, and from who? The bank? How does this start?
Yeah, the way a mortgage foreclosure case is initiated is the bank files a complaint with the circuit court clerk here in the 19th Judicial Circuit. The complaint must be served, usually by a process server, either the sheriff or a private process server. And once they receive that complaint, under normal circumstances, they would have 30 days to file a written response with the court, either an answer or some type of a motion attacking the complaint. Under our program, people who are eligible are those people whose cases were filed on or after December 2nd of this year. And when those people receive their summons and complaint, along with it will be a notice. And the notice will explain what the mediation program is and how they can initiate the process. So as I said before, they must initiate it by attending an informational session.
But
so
I'm sorry, but I'm thinking they need to act quickly.
They do. There are time limits. They have 35 days to attend that initial informational session. And then there are a series of other stays that go into effect as they hit certain benchmarks in the mediation process.
So if you're a husband and a wife and you're both on the mortgage and you're both on the deed, must you both attend all of these classes and in the informational session and the mediation? Or if the husband's working, can the wife do this on their own? Or do you both have to be there?
Well, it's fine for, say, just one person to attend the informational session, but in terms of the process itself, counseling and mediation, all borrowers on the mortgage have to be active in the process. And in fact, one of the biggest stumbling blocks we see are non-cooperative non-cooperative co-borrowers. So classic example is maybe you're separated or divorced and you have a party who's not cooperating, not participating, and the bank is not going to consider your workout request unless they have the documentation from all parties. So it really is
interesting.
So maybe technically you don't have to be at the information session, but you know, the more knowledge you can have, I think it's just really worth the time.
Are these sessions in English and Spanish?
Yes, they are.
Okay, so there's really no excuse for people not to participate in this, because either way, you'll be able to figure this out.
And they're held weekly at rotating locations around the county. We have tried to be just as flexible and as accommodating as we can.
So tell me about the cost involved in this program.
The cost to the homeowner is, there is no cost to the homeowner.
It's totally free for the homeowner to do this.
It is. The way that the program is paid for from a couple of different sources. First of all, when the complaint is filed, the bank has to pay an additional filing fee, and that helps to fund the program. There's also a grant from the Illinois Attorney General's office. These were funds that were generated when the Attorney General took action against several banks in Illinois and they settled a big lawsuit. That money went into a fund, and the fund is set up specifically to support programs like ours that will benefit homeowners who are in mortgage foreclosure. So between the filing fee and the Illinois Attorney General's grant program, those costs are covered.
That's great.
At least for the next 3 years.
Okay.
And there is no cost to the homeowner to participate in the program.
So I have just a couple other questions. Does the bank or the lender have to participate? I'm guessing they would want to, but do they have to?
Yes, it's the homeowner that really has the option. If the homeowner decides not to attend the informational session, that won't trigger mediation. If they do attend the informational session, the bank at that point must participate in the program. And what that means is that when the homeowner completes their documentation with the housing counselor, that information gets sent to the bank. The bank has a time period during which they need to respond and say whether there's any paperwork that's missing or not. Once that time period passes, an actual mediation session is scheduled. The mediations will take place at our arbitration center here in downtown Waukegan. The bank will have an attorney present. The homeowner can have an attorney present if they wish, but it's not required. I was just
going to ask, you can or you cannot have an attorney?
It's up to you. Okay. If you want to have an attorney, you can. It's definitely not required. But then the bank must have a representative available on the phone at the mediation, and this representative must have authority to say yes or no to the loan modification. And that's really, when it comes right down to it, the biggest benefit to this program is that homeowners will get a definite answer from the bank. Because frequently...
In the mediation.
In the mediation.
So you're going to leave with some kind of answer at the end of that mediation.
In most cases, yes. There could be a situation where the mediator decides to continue the mediation for another session, but at the end of the mediation session, the bank must give an answer, yes or no. Now, the mediator is not going to be able to force a bank to give a loan modification, and the mediator shouldn't force the bank to give a loan modification if it doesn't make good sense financially. But they are going to see that all options are considered in good faith and that the homeowners get a solid answer, because what we frequently see in court is the homeowners are coming back repeatedly over a period of months or even years telling us that they cannot get a firm answer from the bank on a loan modification request.
So when you say loan modification, I just want to be clear, it's making the payment affordable for the homeowner, right? You're coming out with a different payment plan than what you went in with.
Yes, and there's different ways to do that. Lisa could speak to it better than I can.
Is that right? Or am I on the right track with that?
Exactly. Okay. The lender will look at doing things such as reducing the interest rate, extending the loan term, in some cases even forgiving some of the principal. And they do that to bring the mortgage payment down to 31%. That's the magic number. We're looking for that payment to be no more than 31% of your gross income, because that's considered affordable and leaving you enough room for your other expenses.
That's great. I know this is really new, but are there success stories already? Have you gotten to the...
To be honest, it's too early for that.
Okay,
because,
we're not ready for that
We're
yet.
just at the point now where people are receiving their summonses. Affordable Housing just held their first informational session last week. I was in attendance, Lisa was in attendance. It was good to see people there getting the information. I think it was a relief for those people to be in a program that potentially can help them. But it's too early right now to really assess the program overall. We certainly hope it's going to be a success. There's been a lot of planning that's gone into it, and I should say there's been a lot of people that have assisted with the process. In addition to Affordable Housing, there's a group called Resolution Systems Institute that's been helpful all over the state of Illinois, assisting courts in setting up mediation programs. And I will say that the very beginning of this program was that the court sat down with attorneys that represent banks and attorneys that represent homeowners, and they all had input into how this program should work. So this is a solution that's really been developed jointly by the mortgage foreclosure bar and by people who are in that courtroom every day. And all of them said, when we sat down with them, all of the attorneys said a critical component to any mediation program is housing counseling. And because we heard that, we sat down with Lisa and Affordable Housing, and they've been a great partner in this process.
One thing I think it's so important to add is that if somebody is not eligible for mediation, because there's a lot of folks out there, their case was filed before December 2nd, or maybe they just didn't manage to get those timelines done in time, attended the information session soon enough or whatnot. You can still attend counseling, and that's where we have seen successes. Counselors work with lenders. We actually intervene on the homeowner's behalf. We have systems set up where we can send that workout package directly to them online. So I'm sure Judge Hoffman has heard too many times to count a homeowner saying, I never received that, and they're resending and resending. Well, lenders are set up to work with us. So if you're not eligible for mediation, still call that number on your screen because you can get help. Mediation is a huge benefit. Being able to sit down directly with the bank, it's preferable, but there's still an option for you even if you're not eligible.
Is there a cost or a fee just for the counseling, regardless of the mediation?
Not at all. It's
everything is free?
Completely free.
Okay, that is terrific. I think we've just given the homeowners and our viewers today some wonderful information. And we will be running the websites and the phone numbers all throughout the program. Is there anything that we missed, do you think? I'm so proud of the work that you have done on behalf of the homeowners. I think this is a great program, and I wish you huge, huge success. The recorder's office is the keeper of a lot of this paperwork, your deeds and your mortgages. So if you need any of that information, please feel free to call us, call our office, and we'll be happy to provide the homeowner with anything that they need to really get this process started. I think it's terrific.
Can I
Absolutely.
add one thing?
Throw one more thing in. You bet.
One thing that's such a temptation, it's human nature, is to just sort of tuck it away and say, I'll deal with it later. The cardinal rule of dealing with foreclosures is open your mail. Don't put your head in the sand. You would miss that wonderful summons that told you about those options. So it's not going to go away on its own, and it will resolve better and more quickly if you play an active part in that. So we encourage you, open your mail, take those initial steps.
That is great advice, great advice.
And if I can, I would just like to thank you, Mary Ellen, and the Recorder's Office on
Absolutely.
behalf of the 19th Judicial Circuit for having us on the program, because I think this mediation program is going to be very, very good for people, but it won't work if people don't know about it and if they don't initiate the process. So being able to get the word out in a format like this is very important, so we thank you for the opportunity.
You bet. That's great, and we'll continue to run the show. It's on the Recorder's website, on our Facebook page. We'll be showing the Affordable Housing Corporation's website. There's going to be lots of ways for people to begin to get this information. And as you said, it's time sensitive, so we want people to get it right away. But thank you again so much for being a guest on our show. And I'll be back in just a moment with some final comments. We hope you enjoyed the latest version of Doing Good Deeds for You. Today's program was really filled with important information regarding the mortgage foreclosure mediation program in Lake County, and you might want to revisit this show. You can certainly watch LCTV for replays, or you can log on to your own computer and visit the Lake County Recorder's website and click on the link to view all of our cable TV shows. As you can see, we really are the keepers of history when it comes to land transactions in Lake County. And while we continue to utilize available technology, we are also reminded of the old-fashioned traditions of our office. We continue to personally answer each and every phone call, greet you with a smile as you enter our office, and do our best to provide the best customer service possible. Thank you for spending this time with us today. We hope this information will help you or a family member. Please contact us if we can be of any assistance. Thanks again for watching, and as always, we continue doing good deeds for you.